So today's topic is Black success, as you guys saw from the advertisement. So although we want to celebrate Black history and culture and Black success all year long, which I'd say we do by participating in the Zoom every month, I feel like this month is just a chance to do that even more. And so this month is like really when the rest of the world also participates in like celebrating these things about Black people and just putting Black people in the center. So today's Zoom is about highlighting Black excellence and Black success. Success means something different for everyone. To me, it means going above and beyond to reach your goals. It doesn't have to just be big or long-term wins. I think it's important to celebrate like small wins as well, especially when the rest of the world is constantly trying to tell us that we're inferior. I feel like talking about our wins reminds us how strong we are because we do have everything going against us and we still won and we still did that. So that's what today is really about. Z, did you want to add your thoughts as well?
Yes, as I was sharing with Renese earlier, I don't feel like I have succeeded anything in life right now. Like I'm going to graduate college soon and hopefully get into law school, but that hasn't happened yet. So I feel like I don't have nothing to say about my success. But in my opinion, Black success kind of refers to recognition of Black people's achievements in various disciplines. This can include like business, education, science, arts, sports, and more. I also put it's like critical to acknowledge and celebrate Black achievement in order to advance diversity, inclusivity, and eliminate prejudices. And it's important to keep in mind that it means different to everybody else. And so one person can talk about financial objectives, some other people will talk about weight objectives, such as like going to the gym every day or going to the gym 3 times a week. Just depends on what they define success to them. But that's all I have for right now.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Z. So I have a video and I've been told in the past that my videos don't, the sound doesn't work. So I'm gonna try and if it starts like tweaking, then I'll just send the link in the chat. All right, if the sound's not working, just give me a thumbs down or something, somebody. I feel like there should be a way to like share audio on here, but I never know how to do that. I'm technologically challenged. Oh, share sound. Okay, let's see if that works.
Black History Month is the celebration and commemoration of Black achievements.
A month dedicated to African Americans and the African American community to show the fight and struggles that African Americans went through and still go through.
It allows me to really appreciate like the friends that I have and appreciate their culture and really get to learn about like our history as like Americans together, but also like the origins of where like other people come from, and I think that's very important.
It's a time that we as a society and as a people, not just in America but all over the world, come together to celebrate Black people and all that we have done in spite of adversity.
There's a lot of people in the world that are not educated about Black History Month or just about African American history.
Without everyone back then, I wouldn't be where I'm at pretty much, like Jackie Robinson or Martin Luther King.
I think it's important especially to follow like the history of civil rights leaders like Martin Luther King so that we can just like never revert back to the place that we were before.
Everyone at the end of the day should be equal, no matter what skin color, race you are.
It's a time for Black people to value themselves and celebrate themselves, and it's a time for non-Black people to also celebrate and understand that Black history is a part of world history, not just American history, not just their town's history, but the history and the advancement of the world and of us as people.
For us to say like, yeah, we're Black, we're African American, but it's a lot of meaning behind that we should educate and let people know about that. For white individuals, for them to be around other Black people or have like Black friends or family members or even like mixed friends and family members, I feel like that's important for them as well, so they can be educated and just know what we have been through or what we still go through. So it's a very important month to me.
All right. I thought that summed it up pretty well. So now we're going to hear from people that have had some successes in their life, and I just want to celebrate that because it's just important, and if not now, then when, you know? So, the first speaker that I'm excited to have is Sierra. So, Sierra, whenever you're ready, if you could do a little intro and then can go ahead.
Okay, yes. Hi, everybody. First, I want to say thank you so much to Rainice and Z for asking me to speak. So yeah, my name is Sierra Alexander. I went to school with Ray and Z. I got my master's degree while I was in school with them. I was in a 2-year MFA program at Eastern. And then in undergrad, I did 4 years at University of Florida. Currently, right now, I'm living in Massachusetts. And I'm working full-time as a senior program coordinator of diversity and inclusion for Westfield State University. And yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
Perfect. Okay. And so, can you tell us a little bit about your journey that you've taken with like your career and your school and everything?
Yeah, so for undergrad, it was really pretty typical. I was an athlete in my undergrad years. I was a gymnast. I earned a scholarship my sophomore year because I was a walk-on, and I stayed on scholarship from then on. And I really saw how much of like a financial like help that was to my parents. I graduated undergrad with a double major and a minor. English, African American studies were the majors, and then I got a minor in classical studies. But I graduated literally not knowing like what I wanted to do at all. I was like, I have no idea what I want to do. I changed my major like 3 times. And even when I graduated, I was like, I'm not sure. Like, I know I want to go to grad school, but I don't know even for what. I know what I like. I for sure know what I dislike. But I wasn't sure like what I wanted to do. So I took a year off, and in that year I stayed at home and I just kind of like worked a couple of just like part-time jobs and stuff. And I just really like chilled out and like kind of like soul searched and tried to like figure out like what it is that I like wanted to do for the rest of my life because I was like 22. Um, and I like came to the conclusion that I was like, okay, I either like want to be an author, like I love reading, I love writing, I want to write books, or be a professor and get like my PhD because I had always loved school. So I was like, okay, well, before I'd like do any of that, I think I want to get my master's degree just to like kind of just give myself more time. So I had 2 choices. I was either going to get my master's in writing, so creative writing and MFA, or a master's in African American studies. And my first like gut instinct was to do writing because I was like, that seems like it's going to be more fun. Um, and also too, if I was going to get a master's in African American studies, I should have just gone straight and just gotten my PhD because it really didn't make any sense to get a master's in African American studies if I wanted to teach because you need a PhD in that to be a professor. And for those who don't know, an MFA, Masters of Fine Arts, is a terminal degree. So a terminal degree means that like that's the highest you can reach. Like there is no PhD in Masters of Fine Arts, and I can teach right now if I wanted to with my MFA. So um for grad school and that like whole year I took off, I was just like, okay, I know like where I want to go to school and what I want to go to school for. But I don't really care like where I go. I know I want to go outside of Florida. I lived in Florida my whole life. I did undergrad in Florida. So I just like made a list of schools, and one of my top things was I wanted my schooling to be fully funded because I did not want my parents to pay any money, at least towards tuition. The other stuff, we'll get into that, but I did not want them to pay tuition at least because that would be like the biggest bill. So I made a list of schools, master's programs where they were fully funded. And I also was like, I don't want to go to school for 1 year. I feel like it's like, in my opinion, I felt like it was just useless to get a master's, to like an accelerated program in a year. But I also didn't want to do 3 years because then I was like, if I'm going to be in school for 3 years, it might as well be 4. And if it's going to be 4, it might as well be a PhD. So I had like a specific set of things that I wanted. And I didn't really let anybody sway me in like the specifics. Like I was like, I want a 2-year program, out of state, fully funded. I did my research. I drew up a list of about 18 schools that met all those criteria for me. And I did the applications for 9 of them. Quite honestly, I just got tired of doing so many applications for them. So I did 9, and some of the schools were just in like my no-no states. Like, again, I don't know where anybody's from, but me personally, I do not want to be in the deep South. Kentucky was out and like Tennessee was out. I was like, not gonna end up hanging from a tree. So I applied to 9 schools. I got into, I heard back from 2. Um, and basically the main one that I wanted to go to was Temple. I don't even know where Temple is. I think it's like in Philadelphia. I don't know where Temple is, but I know it's on the East Coast. I heard back from Temple, and the director basically was like, "Hey," of the program was like, "Hey, we love your like so to get your Master's of Fine Arts in Writing, you have to send a sample piece. Like, this is what I write, this is how I write." And I heard back from him, and he basically was like, "Hey, we love your writing, but like most Masters of Fine Arts only do like realistic fiction, and I do fantasy fiction with Black female leads or POC leads exclusively. So that's like vampire hunters, knights, princesses, mermaids, superpower kind of like fiction, but with POC women as leads." And the program director, because I had been getting a bunch of no's. I kept getting like, it's like, sorry, sorry, sorry. And I wasn't understanding like why I kept getting rejected, until I heard back from Temple. And basically the guy was just like, the director was like, yeah, like most Masters of Fine Arts programs do realistic fiction. So like 2 people who are in like a sad marriage. And if that's the kind of books you like to read, cool. But they are like, like 2 people, like everyday kind of stuff where it's like a girl gets a new job, or like a guy's like playing a sport, or like a lady's finding herself after like a divorce. And I was like, that's boring. So he asked me if I could send or wanted to send another sample, but realistic fiction. And I told him no. I was like, no, like that's not what I want to write. I was like, I can write that, but if I want to end up writing books like my sample, I want to be taught that way too. I don't want to be taught how to write about some lady who's going through a divorce. Like, that's so boring to me. So he was like, okay, well, unfortunately, like we cannot admit you. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. Heard back from Eastern, and I just immediately just opened my email and said, like, congratulations, like you've been accepted. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Um, Long story short, I got my acceptance, and then attached to it, because it said that the program is fully funded, I didn't see anything about like funding or like scholarship or anything. So I called the director, I emailed him, and I was like, hey, I just got accepted. Can I have a phone call with you, because I'm trying to get funding, and I thought that the program was fully funded. He was like, yes, we admit about 15 to 20 people, and either 10 to 15 people end up getting fully funded. However, like you have to apply for like a graduate student position. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And he was like, I have this perfect position in mind for you. Like, this is gonna be so great. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's the position? And he was like, graduate student diversity coordinator in the multicultural center. And I was like, word, okay. Weird that you thought of that for me. Um, So I applied for the position and I got it. And then that is how I got funding for my entire time, for my full 2 years. And I got out of state tuition funding. So I was in Eastern. It was like a really interesting experience for me at Eastern, because I really had not been around Black people a lot. I went to a PWI. I was on gymnastics team. That's all white people. I grew up in Pembroke Pines, Florida, which is like one of the richest cities in Florida, but also the most like gentrified as well. So I went to private elementary school, public middle school, private high school for like half of my time, and then I hated it. And then in undergrad, I just was like around, I was more diverse because I was an athlete, so I was around football and basketball players and stuff too, but my friends were all white. All my roommates were white. And when I got to Eastern, I was like, I really want to like branch out and like get to know people, like my people, find my identity. I'm not doing gymnastics anymore. Like, I'm on the other side of the country. I was like, I could literally reinvent myself. So that's what I decided to do. And I started going to BSU meetings. Rainice and Z could tell you, I would like pop up and be like, hey. And it was amazing for me. Like, it was such a transformative experience to like be around so many, like BSU was like really, really great, but like it was mostly Black women running it. So it was amazing just to be around such like strong Black women, and like being friends with them and being super welcomed into like that, like I like that environment. Yeah, so long story short, I graduated, and before I graduated, I had decided two things. I decided, number one, upon graduation, I would have a job secured. Like I would have a offer in hand, signed and ready to go before I graduated. So I wanted to like, or by the time of graduation. And then two, I wanted to travel to Europe. I was very blessed. My parents gave me like a European summer that was great. It changed my life. I'm moving to Europe in a year and a half. And two, I applied to 24 jobs during my thesis defense time, which was very stressful for me. And there were a lot of other things going on BSU wise, we know, towards the end of the year. But I applied to about 24 jobs and I heard back from four and I got a job offer from two, and that happened between like February and April. And then by May, I had a job offer and then I graduated in June. I went to Europe. I was in Europe for 2 weeks, extended my stay by another 2 weeks because I loved it. I was in Norway. And then I flew right back to Washington, packed up my apartment, and came straight out here. Um, I've been working out here for 7 months. What was it? August, September, October, November, January, February, March, February. Okay, 6-ish, almost 7 months. And it has been the most insane thing ever for me. That's fortunately and unfortunately. Fortunately, like I'm an adult. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment alone. I make $67,000. I can support myself fully. I'm doing what I love. I like, even though my master's of fine arts was in that, I'm not working that job because I fell in love with being a diversity coordinator. And sorry, that was the jobs I applied for. I applied for all diversity positions. And I was like, I can make a career out of this. I saw my boss, I don't know if any of you guys know Vanessa Delgado. She was my boss. And she was making $90,000. Then when I got to this job, my boss is a vice president of diversity. He was making $180,000. I was like, oh, I can get some money out of this. And as my first job, like entry level, I was making 65. I was like, that's crazy. Like that's more than the median income of the United States right now. I'm doing good. So it was really interesting. I had to grow up. Like, yes, so I started my job at 25. I'm 26 now. Um, I turned 26 in September. And yes, I was an adult, even in grad school, because I was still living alone. I really wasn't paying any bills, but like being far away from home, working, like I get up every day. I work a 9 to 5. I get up every single day. I go to work. I am responsible for people. I'm responsible for students. I have like things depend on me, and I have like the final say in a lot of stuff. And I'm very fortunate for that. I think that doing that while you're young and making money while you're young is really important because it like helps you, I don't know, like grow as a person. Like I'm still finding myself and finding my identity in, my experiences now being a fully grown adult. And like really relying on myself, like my rent is due on the 1st. I need to portion off that money. I get about 1890 every 2 weeks and my rent is 1800. So one of my checks is my full rent. So I really have to really portion it out because if I spent all my money or had nothing saved over from one of my checks, then I have literally no money for 2 weeks because my entire check goes to rent for one of them. So I've had to learn that and figure out how to like portion. And like there have been times where I'm stealing water from the office because I don't have any water and I spent up all my money, like truly. So I'm learning, I'm growing. I'm very happy too because in BSU I found and I learned how to like depend on my Black female friends. And in my job, I've made Black female friends who are my own age. And it's like really inspiring to see and like have us like lean on each other and stuff like that. And I said earlier, unfortunately for me, working a job and being grown. So I had a really traumatic experience my first 3 months working. Um, my boss, I had a Black man be my boss. It was just him and I in the office, just me and him together. And he was the vice president and I was the senior program coordinator of Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, like an entire division. Divisions are usually run by anywhere between 6 and 15 people. We're a division of 2. So I was doing a lot of work and it was fine. Like it was me and him. We're a new division, like JEDI, that's what we call it, Justice, Equity, Diversity, Inclusion. The JEDI division or the division of JEDI has been around now for a year and 7 months. He was working it alone last year, and now this year I'm with him, or was with him. For the first 3 months of my job, I was being harassed any possible way a human being could be harassed, mentally, physically, sexually, emotionally, all of that. It was a horrendous time for me, but I thank God for this, but also the Z and Ray know my personality. I'm delusional. So me personally, I really didn't catch on for like 2 months. I was like, what is happening? But I just thought it was a job. Like I was like, dang, like this is the 9 to 5 that people talk about that they hate. Like I guess this is just like the corporate like march into like 30 years of working a fuck ass job that you just don't like. And it really didn't dawn on me that like it was a problem until my boss and I got into it one time because I was against spurring his sexual advances. And I like had to sit back for a second and be like, wait, but I know I'm not fucked up. Like I know for a fact it is not me. Like it's not me. And we have student workers who work in the office like every other day. They switch off. They only work 10 hours a week. So they're in like for 2 hours a day. And I had student workers come up to me and be like, no, actually what he said to you was crazy. Or like, I noticed that he does X, Y, and Z with you. That's weird. And I was like, oh, I just thought that this was what it was like working full time. And also having a man as a boss. Like at Eastern, my boss was a woman and she was a lesbian on top of that, which is like, she's like so like girl power, supportive of women. Like she's feminist down. Like she's like like a radical feminist. So I was like, oh, I just don't know what it's like working like for a man. Like I don't know. But I say that to say that yes, it was traumatic, but I've grown from it so much. Not that's not to say either that like trauma is what you need to go through to grow. Not at all. Not at all. Don't try to put yourself through something that is super traumatic and be like, I'm gonna, like this is gonna make me stronger. Cause y'all know what I did. I went and I tattled once I caught on. I tattled. I sure the fuck did. I went right to HR. I tattled on his ass. And then I reported everything. I made a formal report, and HR tried to hold me for like a hot second. They were like, "Oh, do you want to resign?" And then I had to come back the next day and be like, "Hi, here's my lawyer. You have no idea the money I have and the time I have. My dad's already retired. Don't play this game with me." And then they were like, "You know what? We're gonna start an investigation." I got to work from home for 2 straight months because that's what I wanted to do. Um, and I just got to go back into the office last month because they fired him. And I say that to say I was not going to suffer through it. Once I caught on that I was being harassed, I wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to suffer in silence and like, I'm just going to put my head down and work. No, fuck that, man. And fuck anybody who puts you through trauma that you don't need to go through at all. Handle it because I would say do something, but no, do what you know is best for you. Do what you think would be best for you. My thing that I did was I went and I tattled and I said, I'm not leaving. Y'all are gonna deal with this. And it was really hard because for the first 2 weeks, when I told on him and they started the investigation, they said that he didn't know, but I could just feel the energy in the office. He knew. And I was like really uncomfortable and like really, really scared for like a hot second. And sorry, my phone ringing. And that was like really, really hard for me. But I had two other friends, two Black women who also were kind of going through similar situations in their jobs at my university. And one of them ended up quitting because it was very hard on her, but like that was what was best for her. Like that was best for her mental health. She quit. She was like, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm getting the fuck out of here. She quit. She's flourishing. She's doing great. And my other friend, she just ignored it and was like, I'm just not going to deal with it. And they ended up firing her, which still ended up being a blessing in disguise for her because she herself has another job and is making even more money. And it like kind of readjusted what her career path was because she was working in finance. She is getting her master's in accounting, but generally didn't like her job. Like she didn't like her job. She didn't like what she was doing, but she was like, whatever, like, I guess I'm stuck. And then they fired her. And now she's doing grant writing and is a consultant and is like trying to like make her own like business and stuff. So, um, and again, I say that to say you deal with your trauma, whatever is best for you. For me, quitting was not going to be an option. But for my friend, the other Black woman, that's what she wanted to do, and that's what she needed to do. she's like more sensitive and she really takes things to heart. So like staying there and like having to go through it just would have really stressed her out mentally and all that, and she just wouldn't have been able to handle it. My other friend, she ignored it and got fired, and it really readjusted her career path for her, but that's what she needed to do. For me, I stayed and I fought. I was able to handle that and like the uncomfortableness of it. And I ended up getting a 4% raise because they fired his ass. And now I'm doing part of his job. And they told me I'll get promoted again when fall starts again, which will probably be to $90,000, which is insane. Like I started a job, I got a raise within 6 months, and now within a year, I'll get like a position change and a title change and a $30,000 pay bump. Like that's insane. Um, so that's where I'm at now. I'm very proud of myself. I'm very happy. It's a lot of work though. Um, and I'm tired as hell. Like I work probably 6 days a week now because he's fired, so it's just me. I work 6 days a week. Most nights I work until 8. Friday I worked until 1 a.m. Um, and even through this, I'm still learning to fight for myself and speak up because I shouldn't be working those kinds of hours. That's just point blank. I shouldn't be working these hours. And at some point, I'm going to need to stand up and speak up because that's crazy as hell. Like, yes, you guys gave me a 4% raise, but the 4% raise was $65,000 to $67,000, which equals $95 more per paycheck, which really isn't a lot. So I'm gonna have to go back in there and tell them again, like, this is not sustainable. Y'all can either pay me more money or expect less from me. I'm working about 50 to 60 hours a week. I don't know about y'all, but I did not sign up to be a slave. So, um, I say that to say, like, no matter what stage in life you're at, if you're moving forward, if things are moving in your life, you're gonna be a little uncomfortable. And again, that's not to say you have to fight through it and push through it and kill yourself through it. No way. I'm about to stop working these crazy hours because I'm not doing it. I'm not. I'm not gonna do it. Um, but yeah, I guess that's about that's how I measure my success. Um, I feel like I'm successful in my job. But I know I could be more successful in like my mental health and like my like time. I don't think I'm very successful with that because I just go to work and then I go to sleep. And then on the weekends I go out, which is stupid because I have to work all the time. But I'm trying to like figure out a way to like claim some of my own time back. So yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Sierra. I'm really proud of you as well. And also thank you for sharing your definition of success because it definitely made me think about success different. Like success is like kind of evolving all the time. So like I really, really appreciate your definition of success there as well. Z, did you have anything to add or any questions?
Sorry, Zoom updated. So now the mute button somewhere else. But shout out to Sierra. She knows I love her. That is my girl. I miss her so much. You stated that you went to PWI in undergrad, and then obviously you went to Eastern and on to PWI. So I wanted to ask, what strategies can Black students employ to navigate and excel in predominantly white and academic professional environments? If you can get a little feedback on that.
Yeah. Yes. Also miss you guys too. Love you guys, my babies. I would say finding your people and finding a community. For me, that specifically translated to going to BSU meetings and stuff like that, and then like being involved in that. But I would say for anybody, I mean, for people of color, my personal opinion is find other people of color. They don't have to be a blanket kind of people of color, but like I just feel like the Black women and the Black people I surround myself with are a very specific kind of Black person, if that makes sense. Um, and that's not to be picky or anything like that, but it's like I know myself and I just feel like the specific kind of Black people I'm around can understand me specifically where I'm coming from. And like when I'm going through things or like what I need help with, you know? Um, and that's in a PWI especially, and then also in like the workforce. Like the two girls who don't work there anymore, they're Black women and we're still really close friends. Like they're gonna come over next week. I'm doing like a paint and sip. Little do they know they're gonna help me take my hair out. And like that's that. Like I find people where I am because I know that's what I need to like be with and to like hang out with and to do things with. I do have two best friends who are both Black, and one lives in Texas and one lives in Chicago. And like I would talk to them every day when I first moved out here for the first 2 week or first 2 months because I didn't have any friends. And I still felt kind of isolated and lonely. And I think again that's specific to me. So like I know that I have to physically meet up with my people. I know I have to physically do stuff with like my community. Um and yeah, and I would say for anybody in general, just finding your community. Like if you like chess, find chess people. If you like movies, find somebody to go to the movies with all the time. It doesn't specifically have to be around race. If you already have like friends of like the same race. But for me, I really struggle in the environments I'm in because I feel like Black people are few and far in between. Now, I don't know what that says about the environments I choose to be in. That's another thing to unpack later. But um, I just so happen professionally and academically to really be around, to be in white spaces. So I try to go out of my way to find Black people. And now seeing what happened with me in my experience in my job with a Black man, it's specifically Black women at this point. Maybe I'll grow and learn and evolve more and how to like find Black like male friends. But right now I'm really just focused on my girls.
Thank you so much. Um, did anybody else have any other questions for Sierra or comments? Anything? Alrighty, if not, thank you so much for sharing once again, Sierra. And we can go ahead and go on to our next speaker. Parfait, if you're ready, you can go ahead and talk about your journey, your successes. Also, introduce yourself, please.
Hi everybody. My name is Parfait. I'm from the Congo. I've been in the US for about 4 years. So if I have a low accent, you guys will forgive me. I'm doing my best. English is not my first language. Yeah. That's me.
Alrighty, thank you so much. Sorry, I I keep forgetting. I asked you guys for intro and then continue on. So yeah, just tell us about your journey and like your wins that you've had along the way and where you are now, kind of same as Sierra.
Oh yeah. So my journey, I would say about my success and all that. I'm still a student. Still have to go for my bachelor's degree and master's in mechanical engineering. That's what I'm majoring in. So I'm still young. So thinking about my success and stuff, I'll probably take the stories from me, like from from back home, how I got like here from back home. So I grew up in Africa, in the Congo. It was pretty hard, like thinking of coming in the US and like studying in the US is like for most people is like a dream that will never come true. And I was pretty lucky to grow up in a family where my parents were really like strict about education. Like I really had to study and all that. So and like to come in countries like the US and stuff is like, as I said, is like a big dream and stuff. So there was a school that came and that was like sponsored by like Americans and stuff. So they were actually looking for students who are like, I would say, more smart, or like people who like do their best with school academically and stuff. So the chance was like, okay, if you go to that school and then let's say you have a good scholarship, like you have good grades and like you have a good GPA and stuff, you get a scholarship to come study in the US and stuff. So when that came around, my parents was like, okay, like we're gonna take this chance and stuff, and we're gonna put you there and stuff. Before that school, I was not really like crazy about school like that. I was just like a kid doing my stuff and stuff. But so okay, I got enrolled to that school. To that it was in high school. It was back in 2016. So like I was studying there, and it was pretty like there was a lot of different races at that school. There was like Black, Indian, white people and stuff at that school because it was like more American. It was like an American high school and stuff. So I had a challenge. I was like, okay, like I'm coming to this school. I'm not gonna joke around. I'm not playing around. So I'm gonna get this scholarship to come study in the US because it was all about that. So I remember it was pretty challenging and stuff to, to like keep up with school and do all the work and stuff, because I still had to like do other stuff outside of school, because I did martial art for like 10 years when I was back home. I was doing judo, and I was also playing soccer at the same time, because I'm pretty good at all of it. So I didn't just want to concentrate on school only. So I wanted to keep on doing stuff that I wanted. So it was pretty hard for me to like keep up with school and stuff. And then I thought about it. I was like, you know what? This is a chance that's only come once in life and stuff. I'm gonna try to get it. So what I would do is I'll keep doing my stuff, like playing soccer and like do judo. And after school, I would like go to trainings and stuff. And at nighttime, I will study from like 9 p.m. to like 2, 3 a.m. I was studying because I was like majoring in like math and physics. That's how it's called. So I would like spend time studying math and physics and scientific drawings, is like drawing houses and all this stuff. It was pretty hard, but I was like, you know what? Like I love doing sport. I love doing school because there is a goal that I'm trying to achieve. So I'm gonna keep on doing everything at the same time. It was a hard time because I will always like sleep late, I have to wake up at 6 a.m., go to school, do the same thing, but I did not stop. So at the end of the day, um, when the scholarship came around, I was selected to come into the US to study here. I was not the only one. I think we're like 4 people or some, yeah, like 2 guys and 2 male and 2 women. And then so it was like a big dream. It was like something that like, I would never like thought about it. And I kind of knew that I was gonna get it because I was pretty okay in school. I would say I was smart. I was like doing good in school, but I think it's success because it was like another different type of school I went to. And studying in this kind of environment, it was like a rich, I would say rich people's school and stuff. And my parents were doing good, but not that at some level, like other kid I used to study with. So it was like a challenge for me to like get used to the culture there, even if it was back home, and I'm used to the culture and stuff. But it's like other people. I was not around like different race and stuff, so I had to accommodate with them to everything and stuff. And the fact that I was doing all these things at the same time, like studying, playing soccer, and doing judo was like something big. And sometimes even my parents were asking me like, damn, like, how do you do that? I was like, I just love this. So I came here. I was around, like, I've been around continent, but when I came here in the US and stuff, it was pretty hard. Like as Sierra said, like like if you want to make friends here, you gotta find people with who you have the same interests, and maybe go out to like watch movies and stuff. It was pretty hard for me to find friends and stuff. So what I did, it was like because I'm going to Bellevue College. I'm planning to transfer to UW to keep to for my bachelor's and my master's degree. So it was pretty hard to make friends back in Bellevue and stuff. Um, but I was like, okay, there is a soccer team. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna try out, and I'm gonna try to make friends to the soccer team and stuff. And I went there. The tryout was good. Like, so the coach, they liked the way I was playing and stuff. And I think it was only 2 black people in the team at the time, me and one of my friends. And then the coach was, I wouldn't say racist, but was, I would say the coach had like his preferences and stuff. And me and my friends were really not like the favorite. But we were doing so good. Like everybody knew that we were doing good, but it was just hard that whenever there was a game, like I have to sit back and watching other people who don't do good as good as me, and watching them playing and stuff, and me just watching. I was like, okay, what the fuck is going on? But I kept on training. I kept on training, and whenever the coach, like, whenever I get a chance to play and stuff, I would like do good and stuff, and I will people will come around and talk to me, be like, damn, like you have a good talent, and like, what is your plan? Like you can go pro if you want to, and other people were telling me like, like you gotta go find out a big school from where you can play, like UW or like Seattle U and stuff. So from there you can like go pro and stuff. But I'm more of like a academic kids. Like I want to go on with my school, uh, than sport. But the fact that I was not, it was not easy for me to like to play or anything like that because of the coach. It was like getting into my head. I was like, I don't know, like is it because of my skin? Is it because of this? Because I know I'm good than most of the team and stuff. What is going on? So I went to talk to them once, and then the only thing they told me was like, if I can remember well, they told me, I think he said it was like a aura thing. He was like, okay, he's like aura. I was like, I don't know what he means. So he's like, okay, like other people have like things you don't have, like like they've been here for a long time than you would. So I gotta like give them the because they've been working hard to get here. And I was like, well, like I didn't just appear in the team out of nowhere. Like I had to work hard for other coaches to select me. I don't know what you mean, but um, they got another job. So another coach came in from England. So that coach was pretty interested in my way of playing and stuff, and then they gave me time to play, and I did pretty good last season. It was the fall season. I was basically like the best player of my team because I had like more goal contribution and stuff. And then a couple of schools came around to talk to me, uh, like with scholarships and stuff. Be like, okay, like we want you to play for us, but we'll give you scholarship. You just gotta transfer to our establishment and stuff. Too bad I did not go to any of the school because they did not have my measure. I still wanna be an engineer in mechanical engineering, so I don't wanna just like just play soccer, and I don't know if I'm gonna go pro or no, and then maybe do a major that I don't appreciate just to play sport. So I did not go for these schools, but the fact that I was keeping up with school and soccer at the same time, and sometimes I'll go to like leadership. Um, uh, there is like I don't know how to say it, but um, like there is a couple of stuff going on campus, and you can just like go and volunteer and stuff. And whenever there is stuff like that, I'm like, like I just want to meet people because I'm pretty shy and stuff. So I like to go around when there is like a ceremony about different kind of culture. Is not only about black people. It can be Asian. It can be anybody. It can be Mexican. And I just want to be around people. Try to learn anything about like any like I can learn something about other people's culture and stuff. So that's something I really like about me. I consider that as a success as a black man, to always like be around other cultures as well, and to show what is black excellence about. And I would say this, like wherever I've been, people always have like a good I would say like a good opinion about myself, and that's something I really like. I remember once back in 2020, it was just before COVID time. I was volunteering somewhere at school. It was, I think, showing new students like around the school and stuff, showing them if you need help, where you should go, what you should do. And then an Asian lady came to me, and she said, to be honest, I never thought you black people were like this. So that kind of got into my mind. I was like, what does she mean by that? I was like, what do you mean by as Black people, we're not like this. She was like, no, because we always have like this bad opinion of Black people and stuff like this from home. We always think that Black people, like, it's, gun violence and stuff like that. That's really made me feel bad. I was like, wow, like if people from far away have this kind of opinion about ourselves, is like it's like it's really sad and stuff. So I was talking to them. I was like, obviously we know we're living in a world where there is a lot of stuff going on, and like it's not okay to judge people by the cover and stuff. So you just gotta be around those people and like try to learn something about them. And I would say, whenever I've been around Black people, like I've always enjoyed my time. Just yesterday, I was in a it was like a South African dance ceremony and stuff. Like I just like to be around not only my people, also around other people. So I was like, you just gotta learn how to be around other people and learn about them instead of like judging and stuff. So they were like, okay, like I kind of since I came here, like I see like a lot of Black people like studying pretty smart, and some of them like doing pretty good in life, good jobs. I was like, yeah, like like there is many things going on media, like on the TV and stuff, that people can give some judgment about us Black people, but I know like we taking over the world to our success, and I feel like for the small story I've talked about on my hand, I think I was pretty successful to come from back home to here, to get used to the culture, to get used to different kind of people, to like play soccer, being able to be nominated as one of the best players, and um keep up with sport in general. And I know this is only the beginning. I still have a lot of things to accomplish as a Black man, as a human and stuff. So I'm just excited. So I would say this is my take on today's topic. I consider that as a success for me, from where I came from to right now. So that's a little bit about my story.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Once again, super proud of you and your success. I definitely agree. All the speakers today I view as super successful and just like hardworking against different obstacles that are like coming against you guys for sure. And so, did anybody else have any questions or comments for Parfait about his story or Z? Yes.
Like Renee said, very powerful story. While you was telling your story, I did write down a question. What motivates and inspires you to pursue success in your education?
Uh, to be honest, because I'm the first person in my whole family to like pursue education in the US, which is big. I had sisters going like in Europe and stuff, but I know like America is like one of the most when it comes to education and stuff, like back home in Africa we think that, and we believe that like most like a lot of successful men in the history, and women, came from the US and stuff. So it's like a big educational country, if I can say like that. And then just the way the way I grew up, when I was looking at my parents, they had their like degrees and stuff, but they never had the chance to like study like overseas and stuff. And it's just like it's like everything is like you have to get a job, like you have to go to school back home and you have to get a job, and that's all about your life. So I was like, no, like I just want to do something else. I want to experience how it can be overseas. So that's why I was like working so hard to get that scholarship to come here. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it, and I'm gonna face challenges, and to learn a new language, and to come here and kick asses, because I still wanted to be like somebody from Africa who's here and being successful in class and in like sport and stuff. So me pursuing education is just to make my parents, my country, my continent proud of me. One of my big dreams is to be, maybe like to write a book one day and to be talked about as these big names. As like I want to be like, why not be as successful as Albert Einstein or like other people? So that's big. That's like a big dream for me. I want to work on project that will, I want people to know something about me in the future. I want people to know something about my country, my culture and stuff. So that's why I pursue education, because I have big dreams when it comes to that, and I want to make my people proud.
Thank you so much for sharing that once again, and thank you for that question, Z. So we can go ahead and move on to our last speaker if anybody or if no one else has any questions.
I actually have a question. Hi, I'm Willow. Thank you, Rainice and Maya, for inviting me. But could be for Parfait or Sierra, because you both kind of mentioned that a huge factor in your success was kind of finding the people within your community that you could lean on, a friend like that you could make friends with and made you feel comfortable. I know that Rainice and Amaya right now are in an uncomfortable situation. We have a lot of people in our class who are just ignorant white people. And I'm just wondering what I can do over here in rural Idaho as like a white girl who can make class more comfortable and inclusive for my fellow classmates.
Would any one of you like to take the question first, Sierra or Faye?
Sarah can go first.
All right.
Do you say me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so thank you for asking that question. Thank you for being like an ally already. I would say in my experience, I was the only Black person in my program and have been the only Black person for 7 years in my program. And they had told me that. They were like, "You're the first Black person in 7 years." And I was like, now I'm scared. Um, and what really helped me, I had two really, really great like white allies who like rallied around me. My friend who I actually visited in Europe, we're best friends now. We became friends because like she would not necessarily validate everything I said, but like when she would use her privilege to support me. So like whenever I spoke up about something that was like racist or uncomfortable or something like that, like she would also be like, "Yeah, guys, that was weird." Or she would be like, "Yeah, I also felt like, uncomfortable about it." And even times too where like I wouldn't catch something, like she wasn't, constantly like me saying stuff, but like if she noticed something, she would say something. And I think that her being a white woman made other white people more comfortable, and it made it more digestible hearing it from her. And unfortunately, it like made it more like valid, because I mean, coming from the Black woman, they're like, "Oh, here she goes again, talking about how something is racist." And I'm like, "Because it is."
Yeah.
But having an ally to like make the space and also speak up, I think is like really, really important. And that's like one of the things that like you can do is just like if somebody says something, it would just be, I would say like agree or not. Like if you don't agree, then that's fine. But also like pointing things out and like speaking up to your other classmates, because quite honestly, like the white people will take more serious what you're saying over people of color or like Black people when they speak up, in my experience.
Thank you. Yeah, I totally agree. I think I've been trying to make sure that I'm using that privilege and to make sure I'm not holding the awkwardness in uncomfortable situations. So if someone says something that I don't really think is okay, I'm not just gonna laugh awkwardly and hold that awkwardness for them anymore. I'm gonna ask them what they mean by that. So thank you. I really appreciate your feedback and you telling your story.
Thank you guys so much. Parfait, did you have anything else you wanted to add to Sierra's answer?
Oh yeah. If for example, what Sarah said, I would say the same, because I always like when I was in the soccer team, like there is white folks sometimes, like they just want to learn something about my culture, and sometimes they will ask me how to say this, how to say some type of word in my like languages and stuff. And to be honest, I've never felt any type of discrimination when it comes to them in the team. So they've always been like supportive and stuff. like friendly, and because we have like a common love, which was sport. So I would say I had a good experience with being around some of the white people um in my in my opinion, in my like in my team, because they were always like trying to be friendly and try to learn any like new stuff about me, and asking me what is good to say around me, like if they can say some type of word that's gonna, I don't know, like if it's gonna hurt me. For example, um one day, like the new coach said, like, I know African people are like so strong, and you guys can run for hours, and you guys can get tired, and that's why we need like like a big guy like up front. Like when we play soccer, they say, like, he told me, like, I want a big guy, a big African guy, like to play up front, because you guys don't get tired and stuff. So a couple of my friends came to me after training. They were like, do you think that was okay for him to say, like, do you think like that was like out of the pocket, or do you think that's okay to say, like, just to pretend that, okay, because you're African, you gotta be strong, you gotta play up there and stuff. I was like, no, I appreciate like the support and stuff. So being around those people was kind of, I would say was kind of also positive.
Thank you so much for sharing that as well. Um, did we have any last questions before we move on to our last speaker for tonight?
I just wanted to speak on real quick what Willow was saying. Sorry, I'm in my bonnet. But Willow, as far as like supporting us, I think right now within the class, the focus is shifting in the wrong direction, and it's shifting into the direction about Rainice and I's approach. Obviously, you were born and raised in Idaho. I was born and raised in New Jersey, and I'm still living in New Jersey. I'm just here for school. So I think kind of me and Rainice were having this discussion the other day that me and Rainice's approaches ourselves are very different. I'm ready to approach a situation and call people on their BS. And I think that might be being from the East Coast. We are very blunt people. And then being from over here, Rainice is an advocate in a way where she's more quiet, but like she'll speak up, I feel like, when she feels it's absolutely necessary. And I'm just like, okay, everything needs to be called on, just because I feel like there's really, at least where I went to undergrad in New Jersey, there's like no tolerance for stuff like that. And even in our law schools in New Jersey, there's a very big Black community within our law schools, and a no tolerance for that. Like even in their 1L education, they incorporate a diversity, equity, and inclusion class for 1Ls, to kind of reiterate that. And I'm not expecting to have that in Idaho, but I'm expecting people to not be so ignorant. I feel like the whole approach thing is kind of an excuse to excuse white supremacy in a sense. I feel like they're focusing on the approach like, oh, it's always, in my opinion, it's always the Black person's fault, no matter what. So we decided to, address the cash in the way that we felt was appropriate. And now the situation is being flipped that we are the ones wrong. And we're excusing the behavior that made us. Our reaction is our fault, but no one's looking at what caused the reaction, which was the racist and derogatory terms. So my thing is, I just don't like how it's being turned to that. So I guess like as a white ally, what you can do, since you look like them, you would help them understand in that sense that this isn't about the approach. This is about what was actually said. And we can talk about the approach after and maybe what way would work for everyone going forward. But that was the approach that I felt necessary. And I don't care what, anyone says about it. No one knows what it's like to be in a Black woman's shoes unless you are that Black woman in particularly. And all white people can really do is just be there and support and an ally and hear us out and why we approach the situation the way we did. So I guess that would just be like my little input on it, is kind of just redirecting the focus back to the racist and derogatory comments that were made instead of the approach that we took and how inappropriate people think it was or was not. So yeah.
Thank you. I really I appreciate you kind of outlining how you guys are feeling because I totally understand how um I understand how you can see that shift in people, and I don't really talk to them anymore. But I want to find a way to kind of bridge that gap and kind of talk to this group of people and try to get across to them that when they were applying for schools and they were looking for schools, I'm sure they didn't have to take into consideration whether or not they would feel comfortable in a space because of how they look. They didn't even have to think about that, and they never will. And so if they could maybe just try to think like, what if that was a consideration you had to take in when you were going to school, and then despite the reputation of rural Idaho, still came to U of I. Like, it's our job to make everyone feel included and comfortable because we don't have a good reputation. And the fact that we're not taking extra steps to make sure everyone's included and everyone's comfortable is just, it's disgusting to me. So anything I can do, just we'll keep in contact, and maybe we can make like a plan to talk during crim or something.
Right. I appreciate that too. And like you said, yeah, the school doesn't have a good reputation with 4 discrimination lawsuits already. That just shows that maybe my approach is what's needed for actual change to happen, because what you guys are, or what the school's been doing in the past, is clearly not working if there's 4 lawsuits already, and probably more to come in the future. So
Yes, thank you guys so much for your comments. I definitely think a big part of Black success is like being an advocate for your people, and doing that in the way that works for you the best. I mean, everybody has different approaches to things. I don't think one way is right or wrong. We need all types of approaches, we need our Malcolm X's, we need our Martin Luther Kings to advance, our struggle forward. And so I'm really grateful for Maya's approach, and then for Willow's support at our school. And yes, thank you guys so much. Did anybody have anything to add relating to Black success? Just moving back to the topic so that we can get our last speaker on. Alrighty, perfect. So we can go ahead and have LaShawn speak whenever you're ready. If you could just introduce yourself, and then you can go ahead. You're muted.
I only undid one of them things. My bad, y'all. So what's good? I'm LaShawn. I go by LJ. So this is my last semester of law school. I plan on taking a bar in July, and I guess I've had 2 jobs while I've been in law school. It's just a little bit about where I'm at today. And then I guess if I'm gonna tell my story, I'm a little bit, scared of success, to be honest. I haven't really seen too many successful Black men coming from where I come from, or like just doing the sort of stuff that I want to do. So just the idea of being successful is a little bit scary to me, or like being consistent in that sort of way. You know, just our community, we really don't see too much of it. So just being where I'm at right now, it's a little bit it's a little bit overwhelming. I'm getting ready to take the bar, and just the thoughts of of having, my whole family ready for me to be somebody in the world, and I'm looking at myself just like I'm just a regular human. I'm just a guy. Is that's a little bit tricky to deal with. But I guess I'll just get right into my story. So I guess I can only speak from a Black man's perspective. I'm for real from the hood. I grew up in Stockton, California, born and raised, like single parent household. My mom was on a fixed income, so like I knew the bills that we had coming in every month, and I knew we didn't have the money to pay it type situation. I have 2 siblings. Well, growing up, I had 2 siblings. I got 3 now. My mom decided to have another kid when I was 23, so we're one of those families. I got like my oldest sister. She has a kid older than my youngest brother. So like my niece has an uncle that's younger than her type situation. So I really wanted to talk to you guys today, basically because like I really feel like we are a product of our environments coming from wherever we come from, you know, whether it's internationally or, you know, up the road, whatever our surrounding is, you know, as being Black people in America is typically going to determine like how far we go. And it's really sad, but it is what it is. And really my story is, you know, is a story of somebody who probably shouldn't have made it this far, but I just keep on surprising folks. And I think that that could be a lot of our stories. So um, where I'm from in Stockton is hella diverse ethnically, you know, and like socioeconomically is poor, like it's down bad. But like for a long time, I kind of knew that I was bright. My public school system, they had this thing where you could like get your kid tested to see how bright they are, and I got tested, and I was put into this program called GATE, which is like gifted and talented education, and like no matter how bright you are, you're gonna end up in some trouble if you come in from the hood. So like before I guess I can rewind a little bit. I never got in trouble in school until my dad got killed. My dad got killed in 2005 when I was 11, and after that, you know, there's nothing my mom could tell me that could put the fear in God in me the way that I was scared of my dad. So I'm doing whatever. It didn't matter. So I'll be one of the first kids done with they like math or the English or whatever, and then because I'm done, I'm talking to other kids and I'm getting in trouble. And even though I got my shit done, I'm getting in trouble. And like it really like it didn't make sense of why I didn't get more schoolwork or why I didn't get put into a different class where like I was you know I could have gotten the resources that I needed, but this is a story I feel like of a lot of us in these neighborhoods. So um, like after my dad was murdered, I ended up like getting a lot of trouble in school. I remember like I said before, I never got in trouble, but in high school we just fast forward a little bit. I got expelled twice, sophomore year and then my senior year. I don't know why I kept on like doing little weird stuff, but it'll be getting a fight here or you know hanging out with these kids, and then we were shooting, you know, they were shooting dice in the bathroom. I'm gonna say they allegedly, and then next thing you know, we all in trouble, you know. So like I just kept on getting in trouble. And I guess my one saving grace is that my mom loved me. She loved the fuck out of me, like, and she refused to give up on her only Black son. So um, even though I got expelled in high school, I remember like being hella embarrassed my senior year because I had punched somebody and they told me they was like, you know, you're probably gonna get it expelled. So my mom, she was the type of parent who was like, you gonna call your coach and let them know what happened, like before, you know, they be able to find out on their own. So I remember doing that, and I still got my football scholarship. They was like, it don't matter what you do because you were honest the way you're honest, and you told us something that you know most kids wouldn't tell us. Like, we don't care where you get a high school diploma from. If you get it from the continuation school, we're gonna let you come to school here, and we're gonna honor our scholarship. So I ended up coming out to Eastern, play football here, and then once again, I was a product of my environment. So I'm out here hanging with the weed man because I don't see nothing wrong with this. Like, he ain't out here, you know, hurting folks or like, you know, doing weird stuff. He played basketball at the rec with us, and he was a cool person to be around. I had no idea hanging out with this nigga one night was gonna lead me to go to jail, and that's what happened. I went to jail for some shit I didn't do one night, hanging with the weed man, and then the weed man was a buster, so he turned himself in, and like his gun and everything else happened and told on the situation. And I ended up spending 6 months in jail for the shit I didn't do, but like it had to happen, and like being a product of my environment, you know, it was one of those things where like because I'm Black and because I mean, you know, because the rewind situation went out for like this. Nobody like somebody ended up getting hurt, but it was like well known thing. It was all on camera saying that we didn't hurt nobody. And the same thing that got me arrested, the same thing that got me released. DMV video camera saying that I didn't hurt nobody. And and that had like a profound like effect on my existence. Like I went from, you know, being a D1 football player to somebody that's in jail on murder row with some people who actually really did do their crimes. I remember being in jail and waking up and like I had to like, you know, you didn't have to, but you do this so that you know, you don't get played with, but you pass around your paperwork so people know like where you stand and stuff. And remember after passing my paperwork, people coming back to me, they're like, bro, why are you in here? Like this doesn't make sense to us. Like we know people who like aren't going home, but bro, like they should have released you already type shit. And I don't know, like when I did get released, I didn't feel like vindicated. I didn't feel like justice had been done. So like I said, I didn't plan on going to law school. I didn't plan on being an advocate in this way. I didn't plan on having this hunger to like help others. But once my life got touched by the law in that way, it really shaped how I looked at the world moving forward. And yeah, so now I'm in law school. It's my third year. I graduated in May. Take the bar in July, and God willing, I'll be a lawyer here soon, and I'll be an advocate for people who may be going through something that I went through. And yeah, so for success for me, you know, coming from where I come from, that shit probably looks like $40,000. Like that'd be hood rich where I'm from. Like you'd be able to like buy groceries and like have an all right car and live in a neighborhood where you don't gotta worry about getting aired out every night. Like that's success for me. You know, success for me is waking up in the morning and not being in that cell that I could be in, you know. So um success is gonna vary between us all, I feel like. But you know, if you wake up in the morning and you have opportunity to chase your dreams, then I feel like you on your way to be successful at the very least. So thanks for your time. If y'all have any more questions, you know, we can chop it up.
Thank you so much for sharing your story once again. I thank everyone for being super vulnerable today and sharing different definitions of success because I think it's really important to hear. Everyone has their own view of it for sure. Did anybody have any last questions for LJ? Z, go ahead.
First, I want to say shout out to you. Your story is impactful. I have 3 older brothers and 2 younger brothers who live in the south end of Seattle. And so definitely your experience is something similar to theirs. And so shout out to you for actually coming on here and speaking about that. Kind of tied to your story, what advice do you give other Black men who are trying to navigate success in academics that have kind of the same background as you?
Yeah, that's really tough because like I said, I was always kind of like already bright, you know, like so like I've struggled in law school. I was a math major who like played football in college. Some of my coaches looked at me dead in my eyes and told me D's get degrees. So I didn't have like the best of grades coming out of like undergrad. And realistically, like I said, I struggled. And honestly, the main part is just not giving up. Like accepting that we're all flawed in certain ways and that we're not good at everything. And the shit that you're not good in, work extra hard to shape those parts of you up, and the parts that are you that you know that you do well in school. Like, you know, I don't want to say like go less hard on those, but just know where you stand with those so that you don't gotta invest, you know, too much time in working on some shit that you don't need to work on. And I guess that's just like the part of like where we all got to figure out who we are and how to you know navigate our time the best. And thanks for asking that.
Yes, thank you so much, Z. Did anybody else have any last questions or thoughts to add? No? Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for coming and speaking on success today. I hope we can just continue to celebrate these wins in our life for years to come, not just 1 month, you know. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording.